Hello, and welcome to the Coaches Plaza. My name is Amanda Kaufman, and you are here with me live. If you can see me and hear me, let me know in the chat. You are watching our live training, and this is a really special edition because we are interviewing Ms. W. She filled her multi-6-figure practice using the MTFC system. And what's really exciting about that, she was able to create 25 private coaching clients and fill 3 group coaching pods without the use of funnels, without running ads, without doing a bunch of tech. And instead, she did this wild thing that she learned in the accelerator program. It was such a pleasure to get to work with her and to be able to help her out. But of course, she's just an amazing coach. She's really good at what she does. She's a high performance coach. And we're super excited to be able to welcome her here. But first, before I bring her on camera, I want to make sure that everything's working and you can see us and hear us okay. So if you are an old friend, shout out friend in the chat. If you are new to the Coaches Plaza, shout out new. Let us know that you can hear us and see us okay. I think I can see that Rebecca's here. Hello. I'm so glad that everybody can be here with us today. And I'm super stoked to get to interview Miss W. I'm going to bring her up on the stage here. We got Robert here. We got Julie here. Awesome. Well, let's get to it. I'm super excited to welcome Miss Karen to this stage. Here we go. Hey, Karen. I'm glad you're here. I'm going to pop you over. There we go. Hi, how are you today? Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you fine. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Well, Karen, welcome to the Coaches Plaza. I'm super excited and honored that you have agreed to join us here to chat about your journey.
I'm glad to be here.
Awesome. Well, I just go ahead and take like 30 seconds. Tell us a little bit about your business, where are you located, and like how'd you find us?
Well, basically, I found you when we were going through our first certification. I watched you from afar. And then I happened to catch you online and watched you from there. And we've attended a couple of seminars together. And I was able to speak to you and Chris. I started in, I want to say, it was right after my significant other had passed away. And I had gone to a Brendan Burchard seminar in San Diego. And he pitched, well, no, wrong word. He explained how you could become a coach. And I was lost. And I figured, okay, this is something that I can do. So I signed up. And it snowballed from there, but it really caught on when I started listening to Ms. Kaufman and Chris and a bunch of other people who paved the way and had a process that was easy to follow.
I love it. So catch us up. So you got your certification as a certified high performance coach back in 2018, and you've kept up your certification, and you at the moment you have 25 private clients and you have 3 group coaching programs going right now. You are busy. You are a busy lady.
Yeah, if you had asked me a year ago where I thought I was going to be, I didn't expect this. And my original goal was 20 clients, but I also had to learn how to say no, or find another way to help someone, which was the reason why the group started, because I couldn't take on any more than what I already have and still be able to live.
Yeah, exactly. So learning how to steward your time, and that's something that you picked up when you were in our mastery level program. And I remember that because you came to one of the group coaching calls and you said to Chris, you were like, help, you had more people waiting on your waiting list and they were paying to come onto that list, and you kind of felt bad because they kept showing up on your list and you didn't know what to do with them. So Chris was helping you come up with new ideas.
Right. It was at that time, it was a little overwhelming because you're here to serve, and you can't serve if they're sitting on a waiting list and you're trying to help the people that you've actually said yes to and work with. And I was about ready to pull my hair out when I came to that session, and I'm like, what do I do? And that's when the group situation came up. And then also speaking to human resources at the fire department and saying, hey, this is what I have to offer. What do you think? And it just snowballed, and it's continuing to snowball. I thought maybe 2 or 3 clients would walk away, and they re-signed with the signature package. So I'm like, okay, I'm doing something right.
You obviously are. So let's take a big step back. I mean, you're obviously doing pretty well, and like you have a virtual assistant now, right? That's helping you a little bit. Good for you. Awesome. I'm glad to hear that's now helping you with a little bit of the load. So take us back. You had got the certification and you had learned how to coach, but you kind of got stuck for a little while. So just before you hired us, like, what were you facing in the way of the challenge of getting your coaching business started?
Oh my goodness. There were 2 obstacles. Number 1 was actually talking to people. And the other one was I giving the right message when I was talking to people? Even though, I understood clarity behind it, it was like I got nobody. It was just, they didn't even want to sign up for a 15-minute coffee. And back then it was face to face. They didn't want to go to Starbucks and just sit down and talk. And I
So it was just
didn't
kind of,
understand my message.
so it was just awkward to even get the initial foot in the door conversation going, much less to get the rest of the conversation going necessary. And of course, coaching is a conversation. It's all a relationship. And now you've got you've got a new better problem where you're too busy.
And then the other thing too is that I can't remember exactly where you taught us, but you taught us the networking. And again, this is before the pandemic hit. So I went out to one of the networking events that happened here in Carson. And by the way, I live in Carson, California, or Southern California, I should say. And I just stood in the corner watching and not talking. And it's like, okay, what did I do wrong? And then I came back and I reread something that you had sent me, and it's like, the light bulb hit. And it's like the same thing, a light bulb hit. I was open, honest, and I'll be honest, I came from it wasn't a brutal session, but I came from a session with you that morning, and you just hit home, and it was like, okay, I got to sit back and just be me. And that didn't mean being the gal in the corner. That meant being open to the conversation and just being there. You often say, you do you, coach. And that's what stuck in my mind. And it's like, okay, but I'm not going to do me. I pretended to be you, Amanda. I'm going to be honest. I was open and just ready to talk and listen. And I'll never forget that day. And I've had several conversations like that at the bank since. We've had our parking lot conversations is what I call it. And I meet some really interesting people that way because I did me, but I did it as you. It's hard to explain, but I took my introvert out.
You took your introvert out. What a very interesting thing. And for those that are watching along with us, how many of you would say that you are an introvert, and how many of you would say that you are an extrovert? And like, how does that show up for you when it comes to meeting people for the purpose of growing your business? Because something that shows up for a lot of coaches is exactly what you just said, Karen, is that sometimes like you go to those networking events, or even in a virtual environment, you have these opportunities to meet people and to talk to people and connect with people, but you're not always sure about exactly like how do you step into that? How do you let the introvert come out? How do you do you and be you authentically to connect with somebody that you can be fully you? And what's really cool is that when you really owned that, Karen, like it sounds like when you really owned it, it created like this daisy chain of opportunity, that one opportunity led to the next opportunity, led to the next opportunity. And you've been really busy like ever since you just let her come out.
Exactly. And as you do it, it becomes easier. And I'm no longer, I channel you sometimes, but I no longer have to channel you 24 hours a day. And I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just I've come a long way, and I'm excited. Every morning I get up and I do my 24-hour day, from my journaling to my exercise to looking at what's coming next and what the topic is that I'm going to be talking to client X. I feel so much better than I did a year ago, and I'm so happy that I took that. I know most of the people may have heard the story, but I am so happy I took that credit card out of the freezer, broke the ice, and made the move. I mean, I was there at the right time in the right place.
Now, like I've done that too, where I've did the scary thing and made that investment in a mentor. And we actually talked a couple of times and you said no.
Exactly.
You said no. You were like, nope, not gonna do it. I like you, Amanda, but nope. And then that one time you did say yes. But like when you kind of when you think back to the times when it wasn't right for you to do it, and you didn't want to get the mentorship yet, and you weren't quite ready for it, like that's okay too. We all step into the journey when it's right for us. But what do you think was different for you the time you did say yes? Like what had to change inside of you that you felt ready to receive mentorship and you were ready to make that change? Because I think sometimes people feel really guilty about not asking for help. But like, I think what's cool about your story is you actually did say no a couple of times.
Too many times, I think.
Yeah, and then you said yes, which I'm glad you did say yes. But what do you think was the difference between when you said no and when you said yes? And if somebody was just like thinking about that, like there's good reasons to say no and there's good reasons to say yes. Like, what was it for you?
For me, it was a trust factor. As much as I have watched and listened and have been a student of yours when you did the Daily Show, for instance, I trusted you, but to me, the price of that particular course, I had to choke down, okay, because I hadn't been working. I had been living off of my own money, and I'm like, okay, it's gonna go dry. What am I gonna do? I didn't want to go back to an office. I didn't want people to tell me what I was gonna do, and I didn't want their agendas on my schedule. Didn't want it at all. And I had learned that through being coached, listening, and knowing that I've got to do something, or I can't have the house and the car and and live and eat. And that's basically what I did. I just trusted and said, okay, you're going to have to excuse me. I've got some dogs on top of birds. I know.
Oh, you got a menagerie today. So
Yeah.
yeah, what I'm hearing is, I'm gonna just mute you for a second. But what I'm hearing is that you had like this mindset of ownership that had to change for you to be ready to step into that. And I'll say, like, as a coach too, I noticed the same thing. Like, for my clients that get really amazing results, and you have gotten some amazing results, like, this is just very good work. It's incredible what you've done. And not incredible in that it's impossible. Like, would you say what you've done is impossible?
It's definitely not impossible. I mean, if I can do it, anybody can do it. As long as you have the get up and go, and you do you.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, I think that that's a really key piece of it is like, you've got to do you. And you're one of the reasons why I wanted to invite you here into the Coaches Plaza is you are very real. You're a very, authentic, you do you kind of a person. And you are also a real hard worker, and you're also a person who chose to own your dream and own what you wanted. And like I heard in your answer, it's like, I wanted to own my house, I wanted to own my car, I wanted to own my time, I wanted to be an owner. And the thing that I see again and again among my clients who really do get the results of creating the real business as a real business owner is it all starts before you ever hire me, which is you decided to own it, right? And so that's a really, really key distinction. So my next question for you is, like, where to next? What are you going to be working on next in your business? Like, what do you see as that big thing that you want to focus on now that you've figured out how to let the introvert out, how to really be in front of people? And obviously client acquisition is something you've really figured out. What next?
Actually, I'm preparing for something in October, which I haven't shared with you yet. And that is, there is a women's conference here in LA. It's hosted by the firemen, the paramedics, and there's another group. It's not the police academy, but it's the junior academy. They're hosting a 3-day event, and I have been asked to speak in a 4-hour block.
What?
So I have been,
Oh my
yeah,
gosh, everybody like freak out in the comments for Karen. What an amazing opportunity. Congratulations.
and my dream was never to walk across the stage, and I have been doing that lately. So I think it's time the dream changed a little bit. I don't see myself doing the Brendan Bouchard campaigns and things like that, but I do see myself being in service with general folk. And this is the way, I've had to turn down a lot of speaking opportunities because my clients will always come first. And if it's a weekend that I'm not doing an intensive or a group, then yeah, I'm all for it.
So, Karen, did you know when you started on this journey that you were going to work with first responders, or that this was going to be kind of your niche or specialty area?
No, no. It actually was not even in contention. Because I had been a caregiver and I had gone through everything that I had gone through with Joe, and helping him through his journey. I thought my niche was grief, to be real honest with you, and working with people who were dealing with death and dying situations, because that's where I was the most comfortable. And I'd been an oncology nurse even before then. So I figured, okay, this is my experience and this is where I'm going to take it. But in doing that, I discovered it wasn't me. You know, And I just happened to have an opportunity with my niece to speak to the women of fire. And it just snowballed from there. And I've been talking to a group of paramedics over at UCLA that is going through the program right now. And I guess, the first responders are finding me. Let's put it that way. I'm not calling them, they're calling me.
Well, isn't that very interesting? Because that was very much my own experience as well. When I first started as a coach, I thought I was going to do like helping executive women overcome burnout because I had been an executive woman who had overcome burnout. And let me know in the chat as well if you feel like, oh, because I have this specific recent experience, that is what I must coach in. Because that was pretty much how I started too, Karen. And like one of the things that we teach in the accelerator program is that you can actually coach across all kinds of niches. It's a big myth that you have to have your particular niche figured out in advance, or that you have to have a particular ideal avatar figured out in advance. And that's one of the coolest things about your story as well is that we teach, like, if you're not comfortable or you're not sure about what you want to coach on, or who ideally you want to start with, you can actually ditch the niche. And we have 3 different strategies that you can follow to identify who it is that you want to serve. And it sounds like they found you and they keep calling on you. And wow, what a great opportunity coming up in October. That's fantastic. Good for you. That's fantastic. Okay.
Yep, and I'm really excited about it, as you can tell.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've seen some of your content that you've prepared for them and everything. Like, you're really starting to build out that content. What's so cool about just getting started in service is like you do get paid as a coach. Like they want your coaching. They're ready to pay for it right now. You get into action. You start, like tell me, dish a little bit if you don't mind, Karen. Like, because you started getting really paid as a coach, like, what are some of the other things that improved in your life because you really claimed that ownership? Like, what else improved in your life?
My personal life improved. I have better communication with my brother and my sister, and it's not because we're going through some dark times, but it's the fact that we can actually sit down and nobody walks away with something that's said personally that they take personal. And I've noticed that I have really incorporated everything that I've been taught as far as being a coach, especially my communication and knowing that, someone sees the drink orange and you see it red, and that's okay. That is really okay.
It sounds like you learned a lot about communication through your coaching skills, and like also just more communication because of the business training too. Like, there's different kinds of communication needed for business in addition to the types of communication you learn for coaching. Is that fair to say?
That's very fair to say. And then the other thing is, if way back in the beginning where you told us, or you not told us, but taught us to do one thing a day, and I had always said, okay, I'm going to contact 5 people. I'm going to handwrite a quick note, put a stamp on it, and put it out in the mail. To this day, I still do that. 5 people a day.
Wow, you do 5 handwritten letters a day?
They're not full page. Sometimes it's just a postcard to say, hey, I'm thinking about you. But I continue to do that. And it's something that you and Chris ingrained in us, to make sure that you do that one thing. Granted, I'm not really into posting on Facebook like I used to be with my hugs. I kind of miss that, but I don't have time because I have this one simple rule. I don't get on and look at my email till 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning. I don't turn my computer on unless it's a client that I'm meeting with. My phone is actually shut off because I'm that regimented. Now, in the very beginning, if we were going to do this interview, my phone would probably be ringing and distract me, or I would be up at 7 a.m. looking at email and dealing with someone else's agenda and not my agenda for the day to start with.
Do you guys hear this discipline? Like, shout out to Y in the chat. If you just hear, like, not only has Karen, like, built her practice with a very, like, simple system of meeting people and talking to people and being engaged with people, she's sending handwritten notes. Daily handwritten notes, but it's this consistency she's doing it with. She's managing her distractions. This is not through like big fancy funnels and crazy tech, and it's not about standing on her head and doing all of these like TikTok videos and being all over, crazy different kinds of social media. And I mean, like, if she wants to, that's one thing, but you just heard it straight from her. Like, it's not a source of joy, so I'm not doing that. I'm curious, like, with the handwritten notes, what's the response been like from people who receive those handwritten notes from you?
Well, for instance, I just had a birthday, and these people that I have reached out to, and it actually rotates through like every 3 months or every quarter. I start all over again. I got a comment from the postman who delivers the mail here, and he actually brought me a bag of birthday cards. And these are from people
Happy
that
birthday,
I
by the
stay
way.
in contact with, and it's like, wow. So it's phenomenal, and I get actual letters back, sometimes more than 3 pages worth of things that people want to tell me. And it's like, okay, I'm providing a written service too. So
that is some serious impact, Karen. What a cool story. That is like really, really amazing. You guys like love this. This is like really, it's so interesting that this is out of box thinking, and it's really like not that long ago that was very standard thinking. but nowadays it is a bit out of box. And but I love, like, there's so many beautiful lessons here about discipline, about having that BAM, that bare ass minimum of showing up every single day with that one thing, and that thing that you can really commit to, and like honoring that commitment and having that discipline every single day. And it's really paying off in such a huge way. So I'm curious, you have worked with us. You've been in our accelerator program. You joined us in our mastery level program. What would you say to someone who is like maybe looking from the outside and curious about what it's like to work with our team intimately? What would you want to kind of give them as like an inside scoop?
The best inside scoop that I could actually say to anybody is just be you. And just do it. Don't stop. Don't think. If the time's right for you, now's the time to get on the train, because it may not come back for a while. And that phrase that you taught us in one of the mastery classes, be like Ben? No, it's not on my wrist. But I do have a plaque that says be like Ben.
Really?
And,
you got a plaque made on that?
I have a plaque.
Oh my gosh, that is so good. So there's a character in one of the lessons that we teach named Backwards Ben, and it's basically, so you always start with the end in mind. Shout out to my brother Ben. That is so awesome. You made a plaque. Oh my goodness.
Yes.
That's so
because
good.
there is no way I'm going to go get a tattoo on my wrist. Not going to do that. I remember when Natalie said that, and I'm like, no, that's not me.
We need to remind Natalie to go get that tattoo. I think she's a little overdue.
Yeah, but she's doing extremely well too.
She is.
All my sisters that went through both classes, I'll give a shout out to a couple of them. There's Sherry, Natalie, Pretty, even Robert. You know, I have watched occasionally. I have attended some of Natalie's webinars, and I'm telling you, everybody's come a long way because we all trusted you. We trusted that process. And I can't thank you enough. I can't thank Chris enough. And I still think back to, oh my gosh, did I say I wanted 25 clients? What was I thinking?
Be careful what you wish for. Be careful what you wish for. Well, Karen, thank you so much for joining us today. Is there like anything else that you'd love to share with a coach in the Coaches Plaza? I mean, we're serving coaches from all around the world who are really impact driven. They're just like you know, they want to serve coaches at the highest level. They want to build a sustainable practice. They want to have ownership over their time. They want to have ownership over where they work and who they work with and all of that. Like what one single biggest bit of advice would you give to them?
Just do you, coach. Don't be afraid. Just do it. Just do it.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much, Karen. Really appreciate you.
Oh, you're very, very welcome.
That is awesome. That is awesome. So all right, guys, thank you so much. So if you really enjoyed the interview with Karen, thank you so much for joining us. Please let her know in the comments. She can see those comments. And if you have any other questions, do let us know in the chat. And, you know, we love helping coaches just like you, just like Karen, to figure out the whole meet, talk, fit, coach system. This is the system that we teach coaches to help bring clients that are everywhere, all around you. Like Karen said, you know, it could be in the parking lot. It could be while you're doing your grocery store errand. And yeah, it could be online. You know, it could be like she was saying, you know, Natalie did online webinars, or, you know, Rob does these really cool facilitations of group coaching. There's all these different ways that you could be meeting your ideal clients and having the right kinds of conversations to be able to have those fit conversations to fill your practice. And you don't have to be begging for business. You don't have to be building a business that is unsustainable. You can do it in a way that's driving profit and is something that's going to support you, your family, and your goals over the long term. And we'd love to help you to do it. So the next step is for you to go to coachceogrow.com, or just say the word grow, and one of our trained specialists is going to reach out to you and set up a free sales-free zone 15-minute call where we're going to help you figure out where your next 5 clients are going to come from. What they're going to do is they're going to ask you a few questions about what you've already figured out and really just help you kind of figure out where that next place probably is that's very nearby for you to be able to create that next opportunity. And if it makes sense to book another call with me or Chris to talk about a deeper system, something that could be sustainable over time, that could really help you grow your business, they'll tell you how that works and invite you to the call. But it's not a high pressure call at all. So just say the word grow if something that like that would be awesome for you. Or you can go to coachceogrow.com. Let's see if I've got the link here. I think I do. Somewhere in here. There we go. Coach CEO, I'm going to change the background. There we go. CoachCEOgrow.com will take you to do a self-scheduling of that. It'll open up a browser. If you go to CoachCEOgrow.com in another tab, you'll be able to go to a Acuity scheduler where you can pick a time that works for you, and you just answer a few questions so our specialists know a little bit about you, what your main goals are for your business, and then they'll take it from there. They'll just call you at the appointed time, and it couldn't be easier than that. So thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you again to Karen for sharing her story and what it took to really get going with her business. I hope you really enjoyed this interview. I know I really did. And we'll see you again next week. Have an amazing day.